escapes the dark law enforcement network. The shadows of justice. Detective Adrian Gomez stood in the execution chamber, watching Daniel Pierce take his final breath. Everyone believed Daniel was the Midnight Reaper. Adrian had chased this killer for 5 years. And now, justice had been served. Or so he thought. Because that night, Adrian went home and found his sister murdered. The same way as the 7 other victims. And he realized the real Midnight Reaper was still out there. Adrian knew what this meant. The case had been a setup. Someone inside law enforcement had framed Daniel Pierce. And now they were sending Adrian a message, saying you got the wrong guy. He reported Sophia's murder, but something was off. His captain, Laura Mills, arrived too quickly. She barely looked at the scene before saying, Adrian, you need to step back from this. We'll handle it. His gut twisted. Something was very wrong. And he wasn't going to wait for permission to find out what. Adrian dug into the files again. He found something disturbing. The real evidence from the original crime scenes had been altered. Fingerprints had been erased. Witnesses had disappeared. And there was one common factor in all of it, Detective Nolan Graves. Adrian started tailing him. One night, Nolan went into an abandoned warehouse. Adrian followed. Inside, he found a hidden room. Documents. Crime scene photos. A list of names. And there, under targets, was his sister's name. His stomach dropped. She had known something. And they had silenced her. Then, a gun clicked behind him. Drop it, Gomez, Nolan said. Adrian turned slowly. Nolan was smirking. Gun pointed at his head. Then, another voice. Captain Laura Mills. Adrian, she sighed, shaking her head. I warned you. Adrian's blood ran cold. She was in on it. The entire department was corrupt. You let an innocent man die, Adrian said. Laura shrugged. He was convenient. You killed my sister. Nolan chuckled. Not personally. But yeah, she got too close. Adrian's jaw clenched. They were going to kill him next. And no one would ever know the truth. Unless he escaped. Adrian moved fast. He grabbed a chair and threw it at Nolan. Gunshots rang out. He ducked, sprinting for the exit. The warehouse exploded into chaos. Bullets whizzed past him as he crashed through a window. He hit the ground hard. But he didn't stop. He ran into the alley, disappearing into the night. He had no badge. No backup. And now, the entire police force would be hunting him. Adrian knew he had to leave the city. But he couldn't just run. Not yet. He had to expose them. He broke into an old safe house, one only a few trusted officers knew about. And he started gathering evidence. The files from the warehouse. His sister's notes. Anything that could prove who they really were. Then he hacked into the police server. He leaked everything to the press. Names. Reports. The real killer. And then he ran. Because the second they saw what he had done, they would come for him. The city was on fire with protesters. News stations were blasting the truth. The public was outraged. But the dark side of law enforcement still had power. They issued a warrant for Adrian's arrest. Loyalty is everything, Captain Mills said on TV. Gomez is a traitor. They turned every cop in the country against him. Adrian barely made it out of town alive. He switched cars. Changed clothes. He disappeared. Because if they ever found him, they wouldn't arrest him. They'd bury him. Months later, Adrian sat in a motel room, watching the news. The corrupt officers? Some were arrested. Some vanished. And some? They were still out there, waiting, watching. One day, they'd find him. But Adrian wasn't afraid anymore. He would keep running, keep fighting. Because justice wasn't in the system. It was in him. And the hunt would never end. Adrian's journey led him back to the one place he swore he'd never return to, his city. The corruption had deepened. More innocent people were dying. And, at the center of it all, Captain Laura Mills and Detective Nolan Graves. They had buried the scandal, silenced witnesses, and erased evidence. But Adrian still had one advantage. No one knew he was back. And that gave him time to prepare. Adrian couldn't do this alone. He needed people who still believed in justice. He tracked down Officer Marcus Reed, one of the few honest cops left. Marcus thought Adrian was dead. But when Adrian showed him the real truth, the files, the murders, the names, Marcus swore to help. Together, they recruited Hannah Lee, a brilliant hacker who had worked for the FBI before they betrayed her, and Javier Cruz, an ex-military strategist who knew how to take down an entire operation from the inside. The plan was simple: expose Mills, Graves, and every dirty cop still in power. And if they resisted, take them out. Adrian started small. He leaked classified recordings of corrupt officers discussing illegal operations. News stations picked it up. The city panicked. Then he destroyed their money pipeline. He and Hannah hacked into their hidden accounts, wiping out millions. Corrupt cops suddenly had no bribes, no payouts. And that made them desperate. Laura Mills went on TV, demanding Adrian be found and executed. She was panicking, which meant Adrian was winning. Adrian finally confronted Detective Nolan Graves. He lured him to an abandoned warehouse, pretending to be an informant. When Nolan arrived, Adrian was waiting. "You killed my sister," Adrian said. Nolan laughed. "And I'll do worse to you." Adrian didn't hesitate. He shot Nolan twice in the chest. No more trials. No more fake justice. Just revenge. And that was only the beginning. After Nolan's death, chaos erupted. The corrupt officers turned on each other. Some tried to run. Some tried to silence Adrian. But Marcus and Javier were waiting for them. One by one, the shadows fell. And then, only one person remained: Captain Laura Mills. She was the last piece of the puzzle. And Adrian would make sure she paid for everything. Adrian tracked Mills to her private estate. She had bodyguards. A fortress. But Adrian didn't care. He broke in, eliminated her guards, and cornered her in her office. She was shaking. "You think killing me will fix this?" she spat. Adrian stared at her. Then he threw a USB drive onto her desk. It contained every crime she had committed. "I'm not just killing you, Mills. I'm erasing you." Then he raised his gun and fired. The city woke up to the news. Captain Laura Mills dead. Nolan Graves dead. Every corrupt officer, exposed or eliminated. Justice had finally won. And Adrian? He didn't run anymore. He walked into the police station, handed Marcus his gun, and said, "I'm done." Marcus looked at him and nodded. Adrian had done what the system never could. And now, he was finally free. Months later, Adrian sat at a cafe, sipping coffee. The city was clean. Corruption had been purged. He had no more enemies. No more shadows to chase. Just peace. For the first time in years. And as he looked out at the city, he smiled. Because he had won. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.